Good morning students, myself Venkatesh, Department of CSE. Today we are going to talk about memory management concept in operating system. Okay, as we know what is a operating system, what are the major functionalities of the operating system. Functionalities or we can say services. Okay, see, memory management is one of the most important service or one of the most important feature of the operating system. Okay, in this memory management, what we are going to do is, okay, the operating system is responsible for all the operations related to memory. Okay, that means allocation of memory or deallocation of memory. Okay, all the operations related to memory. Okay, so the operating system is responsible for each and every operation related to memory. Okay, so the complete memory management concept we are going to study here. Okay, whereas first coming to the what are the memory management functions, what are the main functions of the memory management. Okay, see, it is the functionality of the operating system which manages primary memory and moves processes back and forth between main memory and disk during execution. Whereas coming to major functions, it will always keep track of every memory location. That means the operating system will keep track of each and every memory location. And next one is it will track of whether memory is allocated or not. Okay, whether the operating system is responsible for whether the memory is allocated for a particular process or not. Okay, this is one of the memory management. Okay, function of memory management. Next one is a track of how much memory is allocated. Okay, here how much memory means, for example, if there is a process, for that process how much memory it is going to be allocated. This is one of the functionality of the operating system that comes under memory management only. Okay, next one is it takes the decision which process get memory and when. Okay, see, if there is one process, that process is going to be allocated memory means it is the responsibility of the operating system comes in the memory management task. What is that is it will take the decision which process get memory and when. Okay, this is one of the function. And next one is next one of the functionality of the operating system memory management in operating system is it will update the status of memory location when it is allocated or free. Okay, if there is one process, if that process is allocated memory, okay, at that time it will updation will given. Okay, at the same time that process is freed, that means that process is deleted. That means whenever deallocation occurs, automatically it will give the status. I mean, it is going to be automatically updated the status. Okay, here if you see here the entire structure, we are going to divide those things as two areas, that is operating system and user area. See, one of the important function of memory management is to handle the protection also. Okay, for example, we have memory. In that two different processes, okay, types of processes. Total memory is for operating system area and user area. Okay, protection means user area cannot interact with operating system area. Here we have user area is there, operating system is there. Okay, how we are going to achieve the protection means the user area cannot interact with the operating system area. Okay, the whatever the processes are allocated, that is only on the user area. That means the user area cannot interact with the operating system area. Protection means user cannot interact with the OS area. Okay, whenever process comes to user area, it checks the fence address. Okay, here what is meant by fence address? Okay, OS area and user area is differentiated with the fence address. Okay, what is going to happen here is whenever process comes to user area, okay, it checks the fence address. After checking and verifying with the fence address, if it is found that the fence address is illegal or trying to access the OS area, then that request will be terminated. Why? Because the user area cannot interact with the OS area. Okay, so it is going to be terminated. Okay, this is how the protection is done with the memory management. Okay, by using the memory management, we are going to achieve the protection. How means the user area, whatever the process that are available in the user area, it should be up to user area. The process which are present in the user area cannot interact with the OS area. Okay, it can be done with the help of the fence address. Okay, see, next one is what are the major goals of memory management? Okay, see, the major goals of memory management is space utilization, and next one is run larger programs in smaller memory area. Okay, here what is meant by space utilization? See, space utilization is nothing but, since we have very limited memory space utilization is very important goal of the memory management. Okay, whereas next one is run larger programs. Okay, where in this one, suppose there is a program that requires 1000 KB, and we want to run our program in 500 KB of memory. So this can be achieved with the help of the virtual memory concept only. Okay, so how we are going to achieve this one is, we are going to see in the virtual memory concept. See, next one is previously we have seen there is two areas, operating system area and user area. Those two areas can be differentiated by using the fence address. Okay, here what is a fence address and why it is needed, we are going to see now. Okay, here fence address is used to keep the OS area and user area apart. Okay, in order to differentiate the OS area and user area, we are going to use the fence address. Okay, whereas there is a CPU, here we have CPU, and that now CPU generated the address for any process. Okay, so this is the address. Then the address is compared with the fence address. Okay, we are going to compare the address with fence address. Okay, if the CPU generated address is greater than or equal to the fence address, okay, then fence address, then what will happen is it will allow to access the physical memory. Okay, here we have physical memory, otherwise the trap is generated. Trap means error. Okay, here CPU generated the one address, that address is going to be compared with fence address. If it is greater than one and only, then only we are going to access the physical memory, or if it is less than, if it is not true, then it is going to be in the trap condition. Okay, so next one is, next we are going to see here what will happen is, we have operating system area, here OS area, in this one, this entire thing is process area. In this process area we have three processes, that is P1 is one process, P2, P3. Okay, here base is the base address of the process P1, that is 200, and next one is limit means the occupancy of the process P1. Okay, that is 200, from 200 to 600 means limit is 400 here. Okay, here what will happen is, suppose we have OS area and a process P1, P2, P3. Base address means which is present in the base register, that is, we can say it is a, here in this one 200, it holds the smallest legal physical address, whereas limit specifies the size of the range. Okay, here in this one the process P1, what is the size of the process P1? 400. Okay, 400, limit is 400. See, what is meant by base? Base is starting address of the P1, that is 200. Okay, so a process can access memory from 200 to 600, that means a base plus limit. Okay, here 200 to 600 means, what is the base? Base is 200. So what is the limit? Limit is P1 limit is 400. Okay, so base plus limit is 200 to that is base plus limit is 600, that is 200 to 600. Okay, so this is the OS area, this is the process area. Okay, here the processes P1, P2, P3 should not interact with the OS area. Okay, OS area is that is different. We are not interacting with the OS area. We are going to work with the only user area. Okay, that is processes are going to be in the user area only. Okay, so here one diagram is there. This is, we can say, architecture of hardware protection using the base and limit. Here simple. Here what will happen is, just now we have studied now, CPU generated one address, that address is going to be compared with the base, initially base. If it is S, but if it is greater than, then what will happen is, again that address is going to be compared with the base plus limit. Okay, if it is less than, then we are going to access the physical memory. Okay, if it is in the first case, the address is greater than, then it will go to this base plus limit. If it is false, if it is no, what will happen? Error will occur. Okay, and then if it is in the first case, address is greater than, compared with address is compared with base. If it is greater than, then we are going to compare the base plus limit. Okay, if it is S only, we are going to access the physical memory. In the second case also, if it is first case, it will become S, address will compared with base S. Then in the second case, address is less than or equal to base plus limit, but then what will happen? automatically? No, that means trap. Okay, so this is the architecture of hardware protection using the base and limit. Okay, so next one is see what is a memory management unit. Okay, here memory management unit is one of the most important concept. Okay, here what will happen is we are going to use to run the time mapping from logical to physical address. Okay, we are going to map the logical address with the physical address in this by using this memory management unit. It can be done with the help of the relocation register. See, we have here one relocation register. Okay, here what will happen is whenever process is executing, it will generate logical address space. Okay, CPU generate the logical address space for any process, and the logical address space need to be mapped to the physical address space. Okay, it can be done by using with the help of the memory management unit. Okay, here what will happen? Here we have CPU. Okay, what I am going to say is the CPU generated one address. That address is called logical address. Here 146 is the logical address. Okay, for any process the CPU generated one address. That address we can call it as a logical address. Okay, that logical address need to be mapped to the physical address. So this is address. This address is physical address. Okay, in order to map the logical address with the physical address, we are going to done with the help of the memory management unit. Okay, CPU generated address is logical address. Then we have relocation register. Okay, we are going to implement this memory management unit by using the relocation register. Then we have physical memory. Here we have physical memory. Suppose we have value of relocation register 1000. Okay, here 1000. Now this will get add with the logical address. Okay, so logical address is 146. 1000 plus 146. So automatically what will happen? 1146. Okay, this will add with the logical address, that is 146. After adding 146 with the relocation register, what will happen? 1146. Okay, so this is the address in the physical memory. Okay, here simple, the thing is CPU generated address, we can call it as a logical address. Logical address is added with the relocation register. So after adding the amount, the whatever value we will get, that is 1146, that is the address where we are going to store in the physical memory. Okay, so this logical address, this 146 is going to be mapped in the physical memory in location of 1146. Okay, see for example here relocation register value is 500. So what will happen? 500 plus 146. Okay, that is 646. So in memory, physical memory, we are going to access the location of 646 like that. Okay, so this is the concept of memory management unit. So next one is swapping. See here what is meant by swapping. Okay, a process must be loaded into memory in order to execute. Okay, definitely we have a process. In order to execute that process, definitely we are going to load that process into the memory. Okay, here what will happen is if there is not enough memory available to keep all running processes in the memory at the same time, okay, then what will happen? Some processes who are not currently using the CPU may have their memory swapped out to a fast local disk called backing store. Okay, here the simple thing is, okay, if there are so many processes are there in order to execute, so all those processes we should not keep in memory, that is the main memory. Okay, so the whatever the processes should be available, all those processes we are going to kept in secondary storage. This is just like as a secondary storage, we can call it as a backing storage. Okay, so whenever it requires, we are going to swap in that particular process in order to execute. Okay, here simple thing is we have two processes P1 and P2. Okay, those two processes will be in the backing storage, that is this area where we are going to store all the processes. Okay, why? Because here P1 P2 are two processes, we can't store all these two processes in the main memory. Okay, so in order to avoid this one, we are going to store all the processes in one place. Whenever the user wants to execute particular process, those process will be swapped in into the main memory. Okay, after execution completion over for a particular process, then that particular process will be in swapped out. Okay, here one swapped out means, okay, before going to swapped out, Okay, the process P1 is executed by the user in the memory, main memory. Okay, after swapped out, okay, next process P1 is swapped in. Okay, the simple thing is here main memory, in main memory we can't store all the processes. Okay, in order to store all the processes, we are going to use one area called as backing storage. It is just like a secondary memory. Okay, whenever user wants to execute particular process, those process we are going to swap in from secondary to primary. Okay, after execution of particular process is over, then automatically what will happen, swapped out to the backing storage. Okay, here swapping requires a backing storage. It is just like as a area where we are going to store the all the processes. Okay, the backing storage is commonly a fast disk. It must be large enough to accommodate copies of all memory images for all users, and it must provide direct access to these memory images. Okay, at the same time the system maintains a consisting of all processes whose memory images are on the backing storage or in memory are ready to run. Whenever the CPU scheduler decides to execute process, it calls a dispatcher. The dispatcher checks to see whether the next process is in queue of the memory. If it is not, and if there is no free memory region, the dispatcher swap out a process currently in memory and swap in the desired process. Okay, here the thing is swap out and swap in. Okay, when swap in going to when is swap in occurs means whenever the particular process is going to be executed, then automatically we are going to perform swap in. After completion of the execution over of a particular process, then we are going to performing the swap out. Okay, here if you see here swapping concept, okay, here all these are the job 1, job 2. Job means nothing but process. Okay, job 1, how many processes are there? 5, totally 5 processes are there. Okay, so we can't store all these 5 processes in the user area, that is physical memory. Okay, so what will happen, all these processes, okay, here jobs is nothing but processes. Okay, all these processes are we are going to store in disk. This is nothing but backing storage. Okay, whenever user wants to execute a particular process J2, here what will happen, that process J2 is in swapped in. That means we are going, the user is going to be executed the process J2. After execution of process J2 will complete, so what will happen, again it will going to be a disk. That means we can call it as a swap out. Okay, when J1 is completed, then swap out J1. Okay, after first of all J1, first here what will happen is first here if you see here J1 is there, first we are going to swap the J1, then J1 completion over, then we are going to swap out J1, then next scheduled means J2. Okay, J2 swap in, next swap out J2. Okay, next J1 J2 over, next J3. Okay, J3 swap in, next swap out J3. Okay, why we are going to performing this swap in swap out means, okay, because of the space. Okay, okay, we are not here, simple example is here totally 5 processes are there. We are going to store, we don't have location to store all these 5 processes in the user area. So for that one we are going to maintain one disk, that is nothing but we can call it as a backing storage. Okay, here we are going to perform rolled out, roll in, roll out, roll in. Priority based scheduling algorithm, it is just like as a priority. Okay, if it is the highest priority J4 arrives, then lowest priority J2 will be rolled out. Okay, here there are total 5 processes are there. Whenever J3 is executing in the for example user is executing the J3 process, there is one more process J6 with highest priority came to the disk, then what will happen, that J3 will swap in the process which is already executing. Okay, by the user, that process is swap out. Okay, here for example J4 is executing, J6 will came highest priority, what will happen, J6 will come into the user area, J4 will again swap out. Same thing, swap in and swap out. Okay, so this is the concept of swapping. Okay, so next one, what are the various memory management techniques? Okay, whereas coming to memory management techniques, there are majorly two memory management techniques are there. First one is continuous memory management and the second one is non-continuous memory management. Okay, so whereas continuous memory management we can say it is a centralized in nature, whereas non-continuous it is decentralized. Okay, if it is takes if we take the continuous memory management, in this one the entire process we are going to completely stored as a unit. Okay, whereas in this one non-continuous we are going to store program portions of pods are distributed in memory. Okay, it is not completely one unit. Okay, portion of pods we are going to distribute it that are stored in memory, whereas continuous memory management we are going to implement it with the help of the partitioning. Okay, so this is important. So we are going to implement the continuous memory management with the help of the partitioning method, whereas non-continuous memory management we are going to implement with the help of the fragmentation, or we can say virtual memory. Okay, so what is meant by continuous memory location? Okay, so we are going to implement the continuous memory location by using the partition method. Okay, see what is meant by partition method. Partition is a simple method which is used as a continuous memory allocation in operating system. In this memory, here if we have memory OS area and user area, memory is divided into two partitions. One is store OS and another one is user process. Okay, suppose we have memory, that is physical memory. So physical memory is divided into two partitions, broadly OS and user area. In this user area is divided into fixed slots. Okay, here this is the user area, this is 100K and 200K. Totally user area can occupies 300 kilobytes of memory. Okay, whereas OS area it is different. Okay, so here partitioning of majorly in this partitioning method we have two types are there. First one is fixed partitioning, second one is variable partitioning. Okay, so what is meant by fixed partitioning, what is meant by variable? Okay, we can say fixed partitioning as multi-programming with fixed task. Okay, whereas variable means multi-programming with variable task. We can say MFT and MVT. Okay, in MFT what will happen is number of partitions is fixed and is of different size. Okay, one partition is one process, that means one process will come to the one partition. Okay, here in fixed means what will happen, only one for one partition there is one process. Okay, we are going to allocate the partitions as fixed one. Okay, the number of partitions is fixed and is of different sizes. Okay, here different sizes, but here 100 that is fixed, 200 that is fixed, next one is 300 that is fixed, like that. Okay, but here what will happen, for 100 there is only one process, for 200 there is only one process, like that. Okay, in this fixed one number of partitions is fixed. Of course those partitions are different size. Okay, in this one what will happen, we are going to store one process in one partition, whereas in variable, that is MVT, it should not be like that. Number of partitions is not fixed. Okay, here we are going to fix the number of partitions depending on the size of the processes. Partitions is created. Suppose we have physical memory space of 1000 KB. Okay, total we have 1000 KB. If you want to do 3 partitions apart from OS, here OS is 100. Okay, next to in this user area, P1 is 400, P2 is 300, then P3 is how much, 300. Okay, so 3 plus 2, how much, 5, 5 plus 4, that is 9, 9 plus 100, that is 1000. Okay, so total area is 1000. So operating system will require 100 KB. Here what I am going to say is, depending on the process, we are going to partition the memory. Here process P1 needs 400, process P2 200, process P3 300. Okay, so 400 plus 200 plus 300, how much, 900. Okay, 4 plus 2, 6 plus 3, 900. So OS area is 100, so 1000. Total memory is 1000 only. Okay, see, I can assume that there are total memory is 1000. See here, for example, OS for OS it requires 500 KB or 400 KB. Remember, first we have user area, we need 600 KB. Okay, for example, process P1 requires 300. Okay, for P1 it needs 300. There is one more process P2, it requires 300, that is for P2 300, like that. Okay, here what is the difference between MFT and MET means, here in MFT there is a number of partitions, that partitions is fixed. Okay, here depending on the process we are going to partition the user area. Okay, here partitions are not fixed. Okay, here partitions are not fixed. Okay, for example, here for P1 400 is not fixed. If the size of the P1 process P1 is 400, then only we are going to allocate the 400 per P1. Okay, in the first case it is not like that. Okay, if it is the first case, for example, in the first case also one process have P1 process has 300. Okay, so for example, actually there is one partition, fixed partition, the size of the fixed partition is 200 only, but process P1 has 300, but actually the partition size is 200 only, fixed partition size is 200 only. There is one process P1, the size is 300, we can't insert the process P1 into the 200 partition. Okay, so in this MFT, why? Because in MFT the size is fixed, whereas in MET the size is depending upon the process partitions are we are going to create. Okay, so this is the two types of partitions. Okay, thank you for watching. Okay.